Hello YouTube, hello fans, this is Daniel, back again for another video, this time focusing on the placement Moon in Cancer. I had gotten a request for this placement, and so I wanted to go ahead and fulfill that request. So we'll delve right in. So looking at the Moon when it's in the sign of Cancer, what experiences does the Moon have as it travels through the constellation Cancer? How is it affected? What happens to it on its journey vibrationally? Um, as you know, every sign, independent of the planet that's crossing through it, as it crosses through the heavens, can be afflicted, by a variety of aspects, that can create a negative or a positive impact on that placement itself. And so when I speak about these, it's basically, just the placement itself. I mean, if you know of different aspects in your own chart that create different outcomes, I'd be happy to look at any of those as well. But speaking purely from a Moon and Cancer perspective, things are very positive. As you know, the Moon is at home in the sign of Cancer. It's ruled by the sign. It is, basically, when you think of the Moon, you think of Cancer. You think of an energy that is nurturing. You think of an energy that is overwhelmingly positive. Not as sensitive as some people like to make it out to be. I mean, the sign of Cancer. Let's not forget. We're talking about the crab, of course. And so the crab has those claws. He's got that hard shell. He's looking to protect himself. And the traits that come through with this placement are exactly that. You know, People who think about the Moon in Cancer, often think of someone who's a softie, someone who's maybe a little on the sensitive side, someone who can't really buckle down and get things done. And this is really not the case at all. We're talking about someone rather who can feed into the emotional energy of the room and get really a sense for how they should be projecting themselves, how they should be reacting to things. We can think of the crab in the sea, as he's going through the water. He kind of stakes things out. He's looking for predators. He's looking for a safe place to dwell, a safe place to set up home. And the person with the Moon Cancer is doing exactly the same thing. I mean, in a tough environment, in a hostile environment, this person is going to be highly guarded. They're going to stay in that shell. They're going to have those claws ready to go. They're not going to appear weak at all. They're going to appear incredibly strong. They're going to appear incredibly well protected, from an emotional and kind of a body language standpoint. They're really going to appear like, people that you really don't want to mess with. However, the reason behind this is because they understand within themselves there is that soft interior. There is that soft, underbelly that they have to protect at all costs because, this is in essence their emotional energy. This is who they are. And, they have to be able to discern, okay, am I safe? Am I okay? Is the scene safe, so to speak? And if it is, they're more than willing to open up. The claws come down, they come out of the shell, and, they're ready to accept people, with open arms. With that in mind, we're looking at a sign that is in a constant state of flux. People with this sign really can never set inside themselves and say, okay, I'm feeling this way. And, that's what matters. More independent, more, I don't want to say selfish, but, more, signs that are more inclined to only look at, how they're doing. Other moon signs, they don't have a problem with this. But, if you have the Moon in Cancer, or you are or, people with the Moon in Cancer, you're talking about people, either yourself or others, who, really experience the room. They experience everything that is around them in terms of the mood of the people. And, they take that in, and, that makes them concerned. Someone looks like they're in trouble. You can expect someone with the Moon in Cancer to be right there ready to help. It's just part of them. if someone is angry or put off or looks like they might be a danger, you're looking at a person who is going to who is going to become a protector of the weak, someone who is going to come to the aid of those that can't defend themselves. Because Cancer, as you know, it is a very security minded sign. It is a very protection orientated energy, and it first and foremost thinks about security, protection, just safety in general, preservation of the safe zone, the safe space, whatever that may be. Typically, because Cancer is, the Lord of the fourth house, the house of the home. That's going to be the chief example. Is sort of the castle that the crab is looking to protect. But this can be anything. This can be people. This can be in a work environment. This can be at a social outing. I mean, these are the people who have the community policemen with inside them. I mean, they're looking to protect the innocent. They're looking, not only themselves, but of course others around them. They're keenly aware of dangers that may present themselves, in the forms of people or the environment or whatever it may be. Wild animals as such, things that present a threat, they are keenly aware of it. And that's part of this constant state of flux. That's part of this energy that allows them to basically take on the emotions of others, to experience what they're experiencing. And they may be the type of person to say, to look to their friend or whoever that they may be in company to and say, hey, are you okay? Is everything all right? This is who they are. I mean, this is a very thoughtful, understanding placement. Of course, as I said, I mean, aspects can change all of this, and often do. I mean, that's kind of what makes all of us unique in our own natal charts, is the aspects that affect us differently, with different degrees and different angles and such. But the energy itself, is highly positive. It's highly nurturing. It's highly motivated to be of use and be helpful to others in the most concerned and selfless kind of way. I mean, you often find people with the moon in Cancer, entertaining jobs, in healthcare, entertaining jobs in education, entertaining jobs, in some capacities in the military, even, in a support role or in a role that, allows them to be, a caretaker of some kind. I mean, everything from EMS to firefighting to being, an at-home health aide, perhaps. I mean, this is something, if you have the moon in Cancer, these are the kinds of emotions that lie within inside you, and these are the kinds of feelings that you'll feel, the desire to express at one point or another throughout your life. Now, given the fact that the family, the fourth house, all of that kind of stuff is part of who Cancer is, I mean, there is a sense of responsibility for the ones at home. So whether you're, the father, the mother, the older brother, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you have a sense that you've got to look after the younger ones. You have to be the one that's taking care of them. I mean, you can find, all kinds of examples of this in history, and probably within your own lives if you know these kinds of people, who really, look at things like, hey, what can I do to help out? What can I do to make the home a safer place? And this is really a chief concern for them. Now, if the moon is experiencing aspects that are negative, or you have influences from more I'll say independent planets, Uranus, Mars, perhaps, the Sun, planets that are more looking out for number one, looking out for the interests of the self. You may experience times in your life, or perhaps if it's connected to your life as a whole, either through the North Node or through the Midhaven or something like that, where you have to go beyond the family in order to achieve goals, in order to do things. This is going to be a sticking point. This moon in Cancer is going to force you to think about, God, I wish I didn't have to go on that business trip. I wish I didn't have to go away to school. I wish I could stay with, my family. So family, the home, all these things are going to be, weighing big on the heart and, tearing at the heart strings. Coincidentally, Cancer rules the heart, as well as, the chest, for providing sustenance and all that kinds of things in a woman's case. And so, this is really, the energy that you're working with. So I mean, if you find that you have to tear yourself away from the family, you can look at this placement and say, hey, this is, this is why I feel this way. And, anyone with this placement, is going to have that sensation, when that time comes. There's also an understanding of personal needs of others. In that, I mean, this is a sign that's always looking to, satisfy the needs of those around them, those that they care about. So I mean, if you have become someone in the life of a moon in Cancer who is, important to them, who means a lot to them, they're going to be looking for ways to help you. Or if you are this kind of person, you're going to be looking for ways, to, make the lives of those you love, easier, better, more productive, more successful. This is where you get your glory. Now, the downside of this is that you can run into people, who may be highly manipulative, who may be, highly, self-centered themselves, and they're not really concerned or grateful that, you're providing this assistance to them, that you are putting yourself out there, emotionally, financially, socially, whatever the case may be, that, I mean, you're doing all these things and, they are not reciprocating that. And so, one of the big hallmarks that I like to talk about when I get in touch with, people who have this placement, work with them on their natal charts is to say, do you know people that, although you help them, they are not the most grateful people for your assistance? And if the answer is yes, then I have to say, you have to begin a little bit of a separation process and really say to yourself, what are my needs? What are the needs that I have that haven't been met by this person? I mean, am I giving them, 100% and they're giving me, 5%? And that's not a fair situation. And, ultimately, one of the Achilles heels of this placement is the ability to look out for yourself. This is a very, very selfless placement. I cannot emphasize that enough. And, people with this placement are going to feel the urge, to go out on a limb, even when, their resources are low, even when, they're tired, they're hungry, they're whatever, they're going to feel compelled to help. They're going to feel compelled to, get in there and be of assistance to those, whether or not that other person reciprocates or is grateful. I mean, this is a very, very altruistic placement. And so one of the dangers there, as I said before, is the ability to understand the difference between someone who is grateful for your help and reciprocates it. And, you have this kind of positive, loop that happens between you and the other individual, and, where it's all given, where it's all take and no give. I mean, these are the kinds of situations that someone with this placement really has to look out for, and being concerned for their own well-being. Because, as I said, people with a lot of manipulative abilities, a lot of abilities, to, fool somebody into thinking that, oh, hey, thank you for your help. I mean, hey, can you help me with this now? And, I mean, you have to really take a step back and say, what has this person done for me? What has the benefit been to me, if not in the short term, at all? I mean, really, there really has to be, a thought in the mind of this person as to whether or not it's a productive relationship, and I emphasize productive relationships because, that's part of the satisfaction of this sign, is to feel productive, to feel like you're actually helping somebody. And it really has to be helping them help themselves. It can't be doing this for them, doing that for them. That's sort of the inclination. And that's something that can get people with this sign into a lot of trouble down the road in their own lives. And finally, I mean, this is really a sign where, you're an amazing homemaker, family is number one. And, this is one of those placements where you can say that this person is really a true friend. This person is really going to be there for you. You have really the sensitivity and the ability to connect with people, to make them understand what their own needs are, and to really be available to them, as whatever, the relationship may be. I mean, of course, Cancer and the moon are both associated with the mother. They're both associated with, those watery energies, that allow them to, bind their emotions to the emotions of the other person. And there's a strong sense of empathy and, once again, a need to take action for those that they deem, people that are in their lives that, they value highly. So this has been my analysis of the moon in Cancer. And once again, if you have any questions, please leave a comment and I will get back to you very shortly on your specific concerns or questions. Thank you. Good night.